Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand and happy Friday afternoon. It's nearly the weekend and unfortunately we don't have Man United this weekend. We do have internationals, but speaking of that, Bruno Fernandes has been sent home from Portugal. More days rest for Bruno. Why has that happened? How can this help us? We're going to get into that. Also, Jared Branthwaite. I told you that there could be a transfer race for this player. Everyone's speaking about Everton being relegated and that putting us in a good position to sign Branthwaite. Not if there's a lot of clubs queuing up, then it encourages a bidding war. So Branthwaite could be out of reach for Manchester United. And this leads on to a story about Gleison Bremer. The name will not go away. The Juventus centre-back, we spoke about him a lot. Dan Ashworth is a big fan. Could he be the backup option to Branthwaite that we're going for and that Manchester United could end up signing for a reduced fee in the summer? Going to be talking about what his transfer fee would be. And also Rasmus Højlund comes out and backs Christian Eriksen to play more minutes for Manchester United. Going to be getting into all of that on today's Friday afternoon show. Just a quick show on a Friday to get into all stuff Manchester United. Welcome everybody to the chat. What are you guys saying in the chat? Honestly, I feel like every single show I do, there's someone in the chat that says the volume is low. The volume isn't low. I've been reassured so many times. Apparently we've turned the volume up. The volume is not low. It's like a running joke now. It's like a running joke, the volume is low. It's not low. But anyway, get your thoughts in the chat. Also, I had Ricky on the phone to me earlier this morning saying, you better not speak about what Mark was saying on the morning show about our centre-backs needing to push up. He's not happy with Goldbridge. He thinks that it's not about the centre-back profiles we have. It's about as the team plays as a whole. How do you feel about that? But let's get into the first bit of news that's coming in. And I feel like this is the most important bit of news. And it's coming in from Goal that Bruno Fernandes has been given permission by Portugal coach Roberto Martinez to leave the camp early after the 5-2 friendly win over Sweden, playing 90 minutes. Fernandes has more days to rest ahead of Manchester United's next match at Brentford. So this, I mean, it's not just an exclusive for Bruno. Bruno's not been like, can I go home? And Roberto Martinez has been like, all right, yeah, see you later. A lot of the players, the Portuguese players, have been allowed to do this. Bernardo Silva's another one. I think Rafael Leao's another one. Ruben Diaz, I think, has been allowed to do it as well. There's quite a few players that have been allowed to leave the Portugal setup. How does this help us? Well, it helps other clubs like Man City and stuff like that because they've got a title running to go for. But it helps Manchester United because Bruno Fernandes is our captain. Bruno Fernandes has been running through absolute brick walls for week after week after week after week. There's also a rumour that he's been carrying an injury, that it keeps reoccurring. We've seen Bruno limping around the pitch on quite a few occasions now, especially in 2024 over the last month or so. We've seen Bruno Fernandes limping around. He plays every single minute God sends. This man needs a rest. We've got an FA Cup to win. We've got Champions League football to get. And no matter what people think about Bruno, the fact of the matter is, he is one of our most important players. He is our captain and he will play every game for Manchester United. How do we want Bruno Fernandes playing? Well, he even admitted himself he feels like he's underperformed individually this season. I think a big reason for that is fatigue. Like, can anyone remember him having a game off since he came into the club? Like, he's not. I don't think he's ever missed a game through injury for Manchester United. It's never happened. The only time he's ever missed a game is through a yellow card suspension. That's the only time. And when he does play, he plays the majority of the time. Nearly every single time he will play until the final whistle, whether that's 90 minutes, whether that's 120 minutes, he will be there. And not only that, his style of play, the way he plays, he is running constantly. He's chasing down balls, he's sprinting, he's pressing. Some people would say he's too much. Sometimes it's a bit like a dog off a leash. But there's no doubt about it, he has a heart of gold and he runs through brick walls for Man United. So any extra rest that Bruno Fernandes can get is absolutely welcome in my book. Because whether you think he's good enough to play for Man United, whether you don't, I think he's one of our best players. But we want Bruno performing at the best level Bruno can perform because he will play for Man United. He is Erik ten Hag's captain and it's super important. So I think this is great news. Brentford game isn't until next week. Next Saturday, a perfect amount of time for Bruno Fernandes to rest, recuperate, spend some time with his family and hopefully come back fresh for a big run-in that Manchester United are going to have. And, you know, it's not just Bruno. Martinez is going to be coming back from the international break, hopefully fully fit. Casemiro, we think he's going to be back fit after the international break. We've got Mason Mount back. The only big player that we're missing now is Luke Shaw, and of course that is a huge miss for us, but Dallow's absolutely killing it. Wan-Bissaka pocketed Salah, no problemo. So Luke Shaw is a big miss, but we've got our big hitters back now, and that's really, really important. I mean, I don't know where Mount's going to fit in. Get in the chat what you guys think down below. A lot of people have spoken about a midfield of Mainu, Mount and Bruno. I think that's too lightweight and not enough height in my opinion, but where's Mount going to fit in? Let me know in the comments what you think. But I think this is good news on Bruno Fernandes. Very, very good news, and it's good news for Manchester United as well. Nomad Joe says Bruno always presses the defenders since Rashford can't. He does do a lot of people's pressing work, and you know, Man United under Erik ten Hag, we've become a lot better at pressing, but we're still nowhere near where it needs to be. Tamrilek says, Beth, is that the Backstreet Boys hoodie? It's not. My hoodie, actually, by the way. I usually wear a United Stand hoodie, but today they're all in the wash. My hoodie says, everything is temporary. And I love that quote. It's a quote that I live by. Everything is temporary. Martinez being injured is temporary. Manchester United not winning trophies and not competing for Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues is temporary. Everything in life is temporary, and you can make solutions to whatever you want to get to wherever you want to go. And I think it's, you know, a bit of a philosophical quote to incorporate into your Friday. Everything is temporary. Remember that. If you're ever down about anything, if you're ever worried about anything, everything is temporary. Southgate to Manchester United rumours are temporary. That will hopefully go away. Harry Maguire speaking, saying he wants Southgate to be there for the 2026 World Cup. Don't we bloody all? Don't we all, Harry? I mean, I've said I don't want Southgate to be England manager, but if that's what it takes for him to stay clear of Man United, give him a lifetime England contract. Man United is my main focus. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about a little bit on the show. And, I mean, someone says, what about the Malacia injury? I have no idea about Tyrell Malacia. I have absolutely no idea. Anyone sees Tyrell Malacia, please let me know. I mean, all the reports were saying that Malacia was at the team meal at the Ivy in Manchester. Been to the Ivy a few times. And the photographers that are there, and I mean, I've not been there when there's photographers there. No one cares about Beth coming into the Ivy. But the photographers that are outside the Ivy, like, there's no way they wouldn't have been able to get Malacia coming in or out. They were there for hours before, they were there for hours after. There's no way. So unless Malacia went through some sort of backdoor exit, which why, you know, why would that need to happen? Like, the reports are that Malacia was there, but he would have been pictured. Malacia is a really strange one, and I keep thinking to myself, I don't know what's going on with that. It seems strange. It seems really, really strange. Wow UK says everything is the temporary, apart from Spurs winning a trophy, not winning a trophy. That is permanent. Wow, you've absolutely done him. You've done Spurs in the chat there. Spurs fans are still recovering. They're still recovering. Backdoor exit. Okay, right, okay. Let's not move on to that sort of territory. But everyone, I mean, people talk about Dewsbury Hall in the chat. I mean, Mark covered it. On the morning show, the Dewsbury Hall stuff. But somebody get in the chat. Please get in the chat. I really want to know where you think Mason Mount's going to end up playing for Manchester United. Let me know your thoughts, because I really like Mount. I rate him. I think he's a very good player. Can't see where he fits in. And I want him to play. But where is he going to play at the moment? I mean, and poor Eriksen. I mean, I know he wants to play more minutes, but I think he's right down the pecking order. And he impacted the game really well. Against Liverpool. No one doubts his technical abilities as a footballer. On the ball, he's brilliant. He just doesn't have the legs to keep up anymore, sadly. I think he will leave in the summer, by the way, Eriksen. I think that's nailed on that he's going to go. I think it's best for all parties. But moving on to the next little bit of news that I wanted to speak about. So, as I've said to you, we've spoken about this a lot on the channel. I feel like I've spoken about Gleison Bremer so much. I feel like I've spoken about Branthwaite a lot. Mark was talking about Branthwaite this morning, but it's coming out now. And with Branthwaite, remember where I said it? If anyone was watching my shows, it must have been months ago now, I said Real Madrid are in for Branthwaite, and everybody laughed at me. And they said, no, they're not. And I said, Ancelotti has got very good connections at Everton. He used to manage there. Branthwaite is impressing. He's massively impressing. He's 21. Real Madrid are in the centre-back market. Don't count Real Madrid out of the equation. Well, it's coming in now from Give Me Sports that Manchester United have been handed a potential blow in their pursuit of Jarrad Branthwaite, as Real Madrid have a genuine interest in the La Liga title chasers, have an advantage in the tussle for his signature. So Real Madrid have a genuine interest in the Everton star, and the transfer insider Dean Jones has told Give Me Sport that La Liga title chasers, Real Madrid, have an advantage in the tussle for his signature, probably because of the Ancelotti connection, but also because Real Madrid is a European giant that is in the Champions League and is obviously a big attraction to a lot of players. Things on Branthwaite. A lot of people saying, is Branthwaite good enough for Real Madrid? He's 21 years old and he's got so many amazing attributes. He's going to hit the heights. I honestly think he will hit the top heights. I've told you about the story about the Everton fan that I know that I really trust, who thinks he's got a higher ceiling than Stones, and Stones is out here winning trebles for Man City and being a really important cog. Obviously, they're completely different players. I'm not saying Branthwaite's going to turn into a midfielder. That's not going to happen. But Branthwaite is a top talent in his own right. And I've seen a lot of people saying, you know, Man United are definitely going to go for Branthwaite. He's English. He fits the English core that Sir Jim wants to build. He's got all the attributes that we want in a centre-back. He's young, he's got progression. And as well, Everton, they need money because of financial fair play. And plus, on top of that, if they get relegated, which is a possibility, you can get him at a cut price. And everyone keeps saying, you know, Man United are going to be able to do that deal. And I've always said on Branthwaite, no matter whether Everton go down or they don't, and I don't think Everton will end up going down, but even if Everton go down, of course, the money's going to come down for what is needed for Branthwaite. But if you've got Real Madrid knocking at the door, if you've got Man United knocking at the door, and the rumours are that Chelsea are monitoring this situation as well, this allows Everton to create a bidding war. Everton already, it's touted, won at least 75 million for Branthwaite. He's now going to be playing for England potentially. He's been called up to the England squad. That adds money onto a player. Branthwaite is going to go for a lot of money. He's English, which automatically English tax. He plays in the Premier League tax. He's 21 years old. You know, it's a prospect that you're going to overpay for because of the longevity that's in there. We overpaid for Højlund because of the longevity that comes with a 20-year-old. That's what will happen. People thinking we can going to get Branthwaite out of Everton for like 55, 60 million. I don't think that will happen at all. I mean, I hope it does, but Everton would be underselling themselves, and I shouldn't be saying that, but it's true. Everton are going to demand a lot of money from Branthwaite, and if there's other clubs involved in the race to sign him, other than Manchester United, they can create a bidding war and get that price even higher. And that leads me on to my next subject. My next subject is, this is why I think Gleison Bremer keeps coming into the equation. Gleison Bremer and Jarrad Branthwaite, they're very different profiles. For starters, Branthwaite's left-footed, Gleison Bremer's right-footed. The different centre-backs. Gleison Bremer plays in Serie A for Juventus. He's 26 years old. Branthwaite is 21, obviously only just starting his career. Gleison Bremer's more mature. You would say that Branthwaite has a higher ceiling. But the reason that Gleison Bremer, I feel like, keeps being linked to Manchester United is because there's a very real possibility that Man United are not going to be able to get their top option. And I think Branthwaite is up there with one of our top options for centre-backs. I think I would say if Man United could sign him for a good price, he'd be our top option. But you heard Sir Jim. We're not going to be overpaying. We're not going to be spending a lot of money on just one player. It won't be happening. We're on a tight budget and we've got a lot of positions to fill. So if Everton hold firm on the fact that they want 75 million for Branthwaite, I don't see Man United paying that sort of money. I just don't see it. We have to have other options. And Gleison Bremer, the amount he's been brought up in the news, linked to Dan Ashworth as well, as in, not like links as in they know each other and Gleison Bremer saying, you're right, Dan, I want to come to Man United. No, it's the fact that Dan Ashworth has massively scouted him and really likes him. And Dan Ashworth is going to be our sporting director. And yes, Dan Ashworth is on gardening leave, but he's still going to be having conversations. So that leads me on to the Gleison Bremer story, and I really do think there is some truth in that. And we're going to get into that in a second, but I want to see some of your comments first, so let me know what you think about that. And David Mean says, Branthwaite is another Maguire. Todibo is the man for United. David, I'm sorry, but I don't agree with you in the slightest. Branthwaite is massively talented. I like Todibo, but Todibo, I think he's getting overhyped now. And I like Todibo. I've said I want to sign Todibo. But he keeps getting hyped up and hyped up and hyped up. How many people in the chat have watched Todibo for more than 3 games in a row? Guarantee you barely anybody has for Nice. Todibo is a good player, but he's not the creme de la creme. He's a very good player, and I really do like him, and I want us to sign him. But Branthwaite is a top talent with a lot of attributes that is already Premier League proven, and I think it's going to hit the heights personally. So to just say he's another Maguire just because he's English and because he's going to cost a lot of money, that's just jumping to a conclusion. That if you actually watched Branthwaite across a season and you look at his potential and why a lot of people are interested in him, you can see why Everton are pricing him so highly and why a lot of people are after him. Again, people are saying British bias. I'm not saying Branthwaite, it's the be-all and end-all. I want us to sign Todibo. I want us to sign Branthwaite. They're two top targets for us. But Todibo is excellent at covering the channels on the right-hand side. He's excellent at distributing the ball out from the back. He's physical. He can press high. He's got pace. He ticks a lot of boxes. But the one little thing that is a slight worry in the back of my mind is his aerial ability. He's decent in the air and he's tall. He's over 6 foot. But his aerial ability is his weakest strength. If you're pairing a Todibo with a Martinez, where's the aerial capability coming from? You need someone in the box that's going to be able to take charge in them aerial situations. Martinez is good aerially in terms of the duels he wins, but at the end of the day, he is 5'9". You need someone next to him who is very, very dominant aerially. Todibo isn't dominant aerially, but he's got a lot of good traits, and that's why I think we need 2 centre-backs. Like Matt said on the morning show, I'd love to get, a Branthwaite and a Todibo. I think we need 2. We've been linked to Tosin. Tosin's great in the air, massive. 2 centre-backs that complement the squad that we've already got, because realistically we need to invest in that area, and that's an area that we massively do need to invest on. David Mean again. Branthwaite is a bit overrated. I prefer Todibo. Can play out of the back, uses recovery pace when needed, and can read the game really well. David, I agree with you on all of them points. They are all huge points with why Todibo is a very good player. He plays out the back super well, his pace is good, reads the game well, he plays a high line. I like Todibo, but I can still criticise a player and say where weaknesses are, a player that I want to sign and a player that I like. So that's kind of my opinion on that. I mean, getting your opinions down in the chat as well. So on to the Gleison-Bremer story a little bit. So this is coming out again, that while... Okay, so here, I'll read out the full thing. Manchester United are ready to firm up their interest in Gleison-Bremer ahead of the arrival club's prospective new sporting director, Dan Ashworth. While Ashworth will be tasked with overseeing the club's recruitment strategy and will have the deciding say in transfer matters, it's been claimed by reports overseas that he has endorsed Bremer. Although this is unconfirmed, it has previously been reported that Bremer has a £43 million release clause in his contract, a sum which is unlikely to be viewed as excessive. Ratcliffe has already expressed his desire to move away from the habit of spending huge amounts of money on ageing players. So, Gleison-Bremer, physical, aerially dominant. Firmino said himself, feels like he's a perfect Premier League defender. Would I prefer Todibo over Gleison-Bremer? Yes, I would. I think he's got more potential, and I think he possesses a lot of the attributes we need for Erik ten Hag's style of football. Would I prefer a Branthwaite over a Gleison-Bremer? Yes, I would. But after researching Gleison-Bremer quite a lot, there's a lot to like about him, and I don't think we can count this story out as just, Juventus wanting to sell Bremer and get some money. And I do think there actually is some real there's something in this. And Dan Ashworth does like him. It's been reported too many times to say that there's not. But that's the update so far on the centre-back situation. I honestly don't think we've nailed down exactly what centre-back we're going to go in for full force. I said, signing Tosin on a free from Fulham and then investing a chunk of money into one centre-back is probably the smartest way to go about it, considering the budget that we have. Mark was speaking about that on the morning show. But let me know in the comments which centre-back you would want to go for and what direction you think that Man United should go for. And it all depends on if Man United still have Erik ten Hag as the new manager. As the manager. If Ten Hag is still the manager in the summer, Tadebo's absolutely a player that we should be looking at because he possesses a lot of the qualities that suit the way Ten Hag wants to play, especially his ability to kind of cover the channels on the right-hand side. When you're playing an inverted fullback like Dalot, I think they'd complement each other really, really well. Also, when you're looking at a Branthwaite, somebody that complements the players that we already have in terms of his aerial ability, in terms of his physicality, in terms of what he can offer is a physical defender playing in the Premier League. I think there's a lot to like about the targets that we're going for, and what you can say is that the centre-back market has a vast array of players that have different qualities that Man United will be looking at, but I don't think we've nailed it down to one yet. But get in the comments who you would like. Tosin is free, says Suando. Yeah, he could be free if he doesn't sign a new contract, and he's huge. I think he's like 6'5". Really got a lot of pace, very good on the ball, taking attributes that we need in Ten Hag's style. I've said it on previous shows, Tosin on a free would be a good signing for United, because then you can spend money on another centre-back and you've got two new centre-backs. And I agree with what Mark said in the sense of we do need two new centre-backs. That is an area that Man United need to look at as a whole. Last but not least on the show, I just think it was just a little bit I wanted to bring in, and it was Rasmus Højlund speaking about Christian Eriksen, saying that him himself has been on the bench for Copenhagen, so he knows how it feels. And he said that Eriksen is a professional and he holds his head high, and there's no concern at all from me about it. Of course you want to play football. I'm sure that he does too. He trains well and he's still positive and very helpful. He said he got some minutes against Liverpool, which was good, and I think he did really well when he came on. He's a good player, so you would like to see him out on the field, but we have many good players, so it must be the coach's decision whether he plays or not. And obviously, Eriksen and Højlund have known each other for a while due to the Denmark national team. When I spoke to Højlund myself, I think we spoke to him in the mix zone, and he said that Christian Eriksen is magic on the ball. And like I said, I think we can all agree with that. Christian Eriksen is still a very good player on the football, but you can't be expecting to start games for Man United if you can't finish them and if you're knackering after like 45 minutes. And that's why I think, personally, thank you, Eriksen, for the nice little 2 years that you've given us. But I think if you want to play more football, you're going to have to move on in the summer. Eriksen cannot be starting for Man United next season if we want to progress. It just can't be happening. And Mainoo's kind of took over his position in the team anyway. And obviously Mainoo's got such a high ceiling, and you'd rather have him in the team right now than Eriksen for what we need in our team and in our midfield. Pizza says, don't sign these. Erik ten Hag can develop our youth to the top. Obviously, Ten Hag's developed youth a lot, but we still need to invest into signings. Of course, we do. Nomad Joe says Eriksen is still the best passer in our team. Yeah, he's great on the ball. He's great on the ball, but you need to have, if he's playing as an 8, especially, you need to have the physicality to keep up, and he doesn't have that. And people say play him as a 10. Bruno's our 10, and he will be under Ten Hag. And you've got Mount now, who can also play that position, who is excellent at pressing, got energy. Even in the 10 in our team, you're required to do a lot of pressing. Don't know if Eriksen can do that over a period of time, so I think he's got to move on in the summer, to be honest with you. But that's the latest news, everyone. Please get in the comments. We didn't have time to speak about Mason Mount and the position that he's going to play, but let me know in the comments where you think he comes into the team. Let me know what would be, in order, the top 3 centre-backs that you would go for Manchester United in the summer. Why you would do it, their attributes, what you like for them, and how they would complement our other centre-backs. Martinez probably the only one that you can say for definite is still going to be here. I'd like Varane to still be here, but I don't think he will. But look, everyone, have a lovely Friday night, whatever you're doing. Please hit a like on the video. We really do appreciate it. Mark will be back for the 8 PM show. It'll be a good one. Enjoy your Friday, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one.